and the guy at the end. So we're going to go ahead and start. We are live on Clubhouse and we are recording on Zoom. So welcome to the Rockstar Book Club, March 2021. And today's book is The Everything Store by Jeff Bezos. No, it's not by Jeff, it's by Brad Stone, but it's about Jeff Bezos and the age of Amazon. And I was just talking to Barry and to Greg, and Greg's read the book. Barry hasn't had a chance. One of my biggest takeaways in reading the book is that I wish I would have read it when it first came out, so I'm going to be more thoughtful about that. If there's a book on businesses that I think are going to impact my business, which is retail, leasing, and investment, I need to be more current with it, because I don't know if I would have done anything differently, but I don't know, Greg, what you thought. When did you read the book, Greg?
Last month.
Right. So do you wish you would have read it 5 years ago?
Yes, it would have been such a different perspective. It's like, oh, you can almost predict where he's going to go at 2015. It's like looking through this crystal ball 5 years ago.
And listen, and we'll go back, but at the end of the book, the guy says, will Amazon solve the last mile problem? Yes. Will Amazon open grocery stores? Yes. Will Amazon have their own delivery trucks? Yes. Will Jeff Bezos master grocery and apparel? Yeah, I mean, this guy predicted, and the only thing he predicted that has not come true, or that hasn't happened yet, is there was a prediction that they were going to have their own phones.
They tried that a while back. I thought they've tried that before. And
that didn't work. But everything else, the delivery trucks, last mile distribution, grocery stores, and apparel. And that guy, that's how he ended the book, was predictions. This is on the Amazon plan. And Brad Stone said, I believe that Jeff will accomplish all of these. And he has. So I think it would be great to read a book like that when it first comes out, and then maybe 5 years later, like when we did read it. But I do think I would have had a different perspective this whole time. Like the day, I'll never forget it. I was in my bank drive-through line the day that they said on the radio, on Sirius FM or whatever, that Amazon had just bought Whole Foods. And I was shocked. I immediately grabbed my phone and went to Twitter to see if it was true. I would not have been shocked had I read the book in 2015.
I'm getting mine.
Right?
My headphones.
So so starting from the end, then looking back on the book. But Ely, hi Josie. So if anyone does want to talk about if they've read the book, their takeaways from the book, for you guys that are new to the book club, so those of you that are joining on Clubhouse, we've done this now. I don't know, Greg, how many years have we done this?
Are we in year 4?
I think we're in the 4th year, and I had done it in 09 and 10 also. So what we do. What? Go ahead, Barry.
I just said, was this an approved biography? I don't know if I call it a biography. Was it approved by him, or was he part of it?
Yes, he was. So Brad interviewed Jeff back in a couple times. I mean, they've had conversations throughout the development of this book. So, I mean, this book is probably a 10-year research project once it all said and done. So it's not really an autobiography. It's kind of I don't know what you call it. But everybody has their Jeff Bezos Amazon book. There's a ton of Amazon books out there. So this is just obviously one different perspective. So I'd be real curious to get others' take on the construction of the company.
Yeah, it was fascinating. It's fascinating how brilliant he was he was obsessed with competition. Even though he says he's not obsessed with competition, he's obsessed with competition. Right, Greg? Didn't you get that?
Yeah, I think he's obsessed with it. He's obsessed with competing with himself. He's obsessed with competing with his own personnel. I mean, it is, I mean, if you would have met the guy without knowing anything about him, I think you'd think he was crazy.
You know, I have a friend right now interviewing for a job at Amazon. And this person told me yesterday that this person said, did you know that you don't get paid a lot? You get a crap load of stock, but you don't get it until you're there 4 years.
Right. And that's been the policy since day one.
So you're basically an enslaved servant. And then in 4 years, you're a millionaire.
Does he have an inferiority complex, do you think, or is it more just drive to prove? No, by saying inferiority complex, I mean, but to prove everybody wrong who doubted him, like Michael Jordan, who had his Hall of Fame, still he brought his high school coach to point him out that F you, basically.
I have my opinion. Greg, what's your opinion?
I didn't get that. I think he is just so driven by, we'll call it disrupting the status quo. Like he just wants to be different. And, you know, he proves that kind of over and over again. You know, they talk about just building the construction of Amazon. There really was no map per se. I mean, they were growing so fast, so quickly that they didn't have a time to be strategic. They just did it. It was just, we're going to do it. There's no roadmap here. And they talk about in the book, like people that have been there from Amazon in the beginning, they, you know, for the first 5 years, they don't even remember what happened. Like it's just a blur.
And they were working 20-hour days. I think it's all drive. I don't think it's insecurity whatsoever. One of the quotes he said, it says, it is far better to cannibalize yourself than have someone else do it. And this is the quote that I don't believe in the book that I wrote down, because absolutely I got the opposite of this. He says, most companies are not those things. They are focused on the competitor rather than the customer, meaning we are focused, number one, on the customer. I do believe he's focused on the customer, but equally so, he is focused on anybody that tries to come into any area of his business. He wants to chew them up and spit them out. There is no room for a competitor, and he will do things that border on not nice things to get rid of the competition, right? And if he like Zappos, he went after Zappos hard. He said, why aren't we selling shoes like this? Why aren't we doing that? And he would go and it would frustrate him to no end when they wouldn't capitulate to his purchase offer. He'd get very frustrated, and he would yell at his guys, go make this deal happen and don't stop until you do. And then the question is did he overpay for some of these companies? He didn't overpay for Zappos, so
Whole Foods for free.
What?
In fact, he got Whole Foods for free effectively. I mean, that's the amazing thing is a lot of these companies the Whole Foods stock went up that day enough to pay for the purchase, or the Amazon stock rather went up that day.
And the whole, remember that most of the book, like what Greg said, is early days stuff. So you're learning about how did the Kindle come about. My sister who just joined, I still like to read books, like real books, and she's had the Kindle, she's had the Fire, I think Amazon Fire, but his fight with Barnes and Noble. Look, there's Greg. I mean, Greg. I'm the idiot who takes on the airplane, 8 hardcover books in my heavy backpack. Sure. I know I'm silly, but I'm a bookaholic. So bookaholic. Right. Well, so, but his, that fight between him and Barnes and Noble and the publishers and the authors, but he was right. He was right every time.
And to think that started with Barnes and Noble flying to Seattle to intimidate him, saying, "Oh yeah, you know what? We're just like, we're gonna start a website and we're gonna take you out." And they talked about a partnership, and they realized it was never going to happen. But for the fact that Barnes and Noble tried to intimidate them back in the early '90s is hysterical. That just blows me away.
How embarrassing.
I do remember a day though, I can still picture, Beth and you probably similar back in like the early '90s when they were just, Amazon was this cute little, they sold books. I mean, that's what they did. I mean, are they going to make it? They sell books online. I mean, that was Amazon for several years.
Well, and before Amazon, it was called Cadaver.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah. That is the first name of Amazon. It's called Cadaver.
Yeah, and then the whole thing with Prime, how that came up. So do you remember that, Greg, how Prime came up?
Faintly, yeah.
It was a guy. So
that's right. It's some random. It was an idea of like just some middle management guy. You're right.
They were in a meeting and they were trying to figure out. It was, will people pay more? It was the whole thing about free shipping, and how do we do 1-day shipping? How do we do 2-day shipping? Will people pay more to get it faster? And then this guy says, what if we charge? And if we charge, all the people that will pay extra will get it the 1-day or the 2-day, right? And it was just a random idea at a meeting, and they said, oh yeah, let's try it. And now, it's hugely, it adds to the bottom line of the company in probably one of the most significant ways ever.
Well, and you can correlate that Amazon Prime is probably changed retail inevitably. I mean, it's probably the biggest game changer in retail. I mean, in the last 20 years, it's just such an impact because everybody's now trying to do it. You got Walmart Plus, and you got everybody else.
He said, go ahead.
I was just saying, does he get into, because I would say the biggest things to me, Amazon, their biggest successes are Prime, you mentioned, and then AWS, Amazon Web. Does he get into that? Because to me, that's what stopped. I think if not for AWS, I don't know that Amazon exists today. And was that a component of it? Was it survive? I'm kind of curious what he discussed about that.
Do you remember, Greg, the details on that?
Yeah, I mean, not all.
It was another guy. It wasn't his idea either, AWS.
Wow.
It was another employee who went to him and said, I think we can provide online cloud systems for companies.
Right.
And right. I mean, and then everyone loved the idea. He always had a group of like think tank people around him, but they came and went. Some people left, some people came back. He was an impossible guy to work for. Impossible.
Yeah. It's kind of like Steve Jobs has the same, or had the same reputation, obviously.
He compares Bezos to Jobs.
Yeah.
He says, Bezos is like a chess master playing countless games simultaneously with the boards organized in such a way that he can efficiently tend to each match. Oh. As far as his multitasking with all of the different parts of the company. He said, Steve Jobs was known for the clarity of his insights about what customers wanted, but he was also known for his volatility with coworkers. Apple's founder reportedly fired employees in the elevator and screamed at underperforming executives. Perhaps there's something endemic in the fast-paced technology business that causes this common behavior, because such intensity is not exactly rare among its CEOs. So they constantly compare him to Steve Jobs.
What about Musk, or was Musk not big enough yet?
Not mentioned in the book at all, right? Yeah,
probably wasn't big enough yet.
Yeah. But yeah, so it was fascinating. Here's something about Prime. Prime would eventually justify its existence. The service turned customers into Amazon addicts who gorged on the almost instant gratification of having purchases reliably appear 2 days after they ordered them. Signing up for Amazon Prime, Jason Kilar said at the time, was like going from dial-up to broadband internet connection. Right? So so true. So true. He says, Bezos kept pushing for more. He asked Blake to exact better terms from the smallest publishers. This was back in the beginning, who would go out of business if it weren't for the steady sales of their back catalogs on Amazon. Within the books group, the resulting program was dubbed the Gazelle Project because Bezos suggested to Blake in a meeting that Amazon should approach these small publishers the same way a cheetah would pursue a sickly gazelle. Like I'm telling, he just wanted to put his people out of business.
Yep.
He said, as part of the Gazelle Project, Blake's group categorized publishers in terms of their dependency on Amazon and then opened negotiations with the most vulnerable companies. 3 book buyers at the time recalled this effort. Blake herself said that Bezos meant the cheetah and gazelle analogy as a joke, but it was carried too far. Yet the program clearly represented something real, an emerging realpolitik approach toward book publishers, an attitude whose ruthlessness startled even some Amazon employees. Ruthlessness startled Amazon employees. Soon after the Gazelle Project began, Amazon's lawyers heard about the name and insisted it be changed to the less incendiary Small Publisher Negotiation Program. You know, near the end of the book, they start talking a lot about marketplace and small retailers selling on Amazon, and how there's this shadow site that the retailers can't find out who's behind the shadow site, where they undercut the pricing of the retailers. And they give an example of this German knife company. And the German these knives are $159, and when these small retailers sign up for Amazon, they sign something called the minimum price something that Amazon agrees they'll never go under the minimum price, because these retailers are selling with other distributors besides Amazon, and they've got to keep the prices the same. Well, it never was told in the book, but it's insinuated in the book that Amazon created this shadow site, right, Greg?
Yeah.
That Amazon was behind undercutting the knives. That's just terrible. And they say most retailers leave Amazon. They stay in it. They build up a huge following, and within 3 or 4 years, they drop Amazon, and they always come back. It's very sad. It was saddened when I was listening to that part of it.
Because of your love for the small retailers.
Yeah, I mean, he wants to take all their business. He's not making any bones about it. But what did you think about the Beth, the Millaravi story?
Remind me. God, the book was I've been listening to this book for 3 weeks. Like, I can't even remember everything.
So, the analyst that went out and was like all against Amazon, like ripping them apart, and just and so Bezos gives this. Bezos basically turns this poor young analyst, Wall Street analyst, into like this huge villain against the company and against like internet retail in general, and like tries to end this guy's career. Yeah.
How did that end up? In the end, they kind of shook hands, right? And moved on?
No, I don't think they actually ever met. I think maybe I'm wrong.
But that guy, he kept saying they're not making money. They're not making money. The stock is, it's phantom. Like, don't, right? This was an analyst on Wall Street saying, this is not a company that's making money, but
which they didn't for years, many. Again, that gets back to AWS. I mean, Amazon retail was not profitable until pretty recently. They just plow everything back in. I mean, they reinvest, tremendous amounts of money.
Yeah. Hey, Sean,
Hey,
how are ya?
good. How you been?
I'm doing great. Here's another quote. We believe that the fundamental measure of our success will be the shareholder value we create over the long term. This value will be a direct result of our ability to extend and solidify our current market leadership position. The stronger our market leadership, the more powerful our economic model. Market leadership can translate directly to higher revenue, higher profitability, greater capital velocity, and correspondingly stronger returns on invested capital. Our decisions have consistently reflected this focus. We first measure ourselves in terms of the metrics most indicative of our market leadership, customer and revenue growth, the degree to which our customers continue to purchase from us on a repeat basis, and the strength of our brand. We have invested and will continue to invest aggressively to expand and leverage our customer base, brand, and infrastructure as we move to establish an enduring franchise. Basically, I'm going to kill all my competitors and get recurring income from my customers, which he has done successfully in both, right? Crazy. Crazy.
Staggering. What do you think and I don't know if it gets into that. What do you think his opinion or thoughts are of Walmart, Target? I mean, is his goal, you think, to put, is he arrogant enough to think he could put those out of business, or is it more just beat them in the competition?
They met with Walmart, right, Greg?
He's met with Walmart. He's met with Target. He's met with Costco. So he's met with everybody.
To discuss what?
Well, so maybe with Costco, it was really a philosophical conversation. So it was like, this is Costco's business model. How can I apply what Costco is doing to their customers on a brick and mortar level? How can I apply that same philosophy on the digital landscape?
And the Costco, correct me if I'm wrong, wasn't the Costco membership, didn't that play into Amazon Prime's idea?
Prime.
Yes.
Yeah. And that's what Costco, a huge percentage of their revenue is off the membership fees. They sell everything at a very, very thin margin. It's the membership fee.
Didn't Walmart use Amazon's online early on before Walmart, right?
Yeah.
They were partners, Barry.
Well, okay, I didn't remember that.
Walmart, Toys R Us. I mean, every retailer was using Amazon in the beginning.
On the back end.
Platform.
Yeah.
Walmart, that's another example of they used them. They tried to do it on their own. They went back to them. And then finally 3 years ago, Walmart said, we got to spend big and get the hell out of Amazon. Because they had all the data. That's the key of Amazon's success, is the data of all of us. Right? That's why that's why I think we in retail believe that was the Whole Foods acquisition, was how do we get those rich people's data, right?
Yeah.
And the distribution locations.
Right. And then Instacart's doing the exact same thing. They're doing the exact same thing that Amazon was doing in the beginning. They're taking all this grocery revenue and they're just all the grocery data, and they're going to basically open up their own stores. It's coming.
Amazon, you mean? Grocery?
No, Instacart. You're going to have Instacart.
Instacart. Okay, gotcha.
Well, and Target bought Shipped, right?
Yep. So they gave off, yeah.
It's fat. Again, I'm going to repeat this for the new people that came onto Clubhouse and to Zoom. My biggest regret is I didn't read this book 5 years earlier. We in retail should be reading books that are current about our industry when they come out, because I think it would have impacted my business had I had this knowledge in my head 5 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. So I don't know if you're familiar with Steve Dennis. He used to work with Neiman's and Sears and that kind of thing. So he wrote a book and it came out. It's called Remarkable Retail. It came out in April of last year. I mean, you think about how quick our environment has changed. That he's had to make it. He's basically had to rewrite the book 12 months ago from what was released 12 months ago. He has a completely different version now because so much has changed in the last 12 months.
But so it's a difference between an observer, he's an observer, right? And a consultant, right? Versus a company.
Right. Yeah.
That guy's giving an opinion on retail. This book was describing how they were doing retail.
Correct.
And
Correct.
no company impacts retail more than Amazon, in my opinion.
Well, like, I read we read the Lululemon book a few months ago, right? I feel the same way. The whole time I was reading the Lululemon book, I was thinking, I wish I would have read this when it came out. I'm behind the times. Because now not the same as Amazon, because Amazon's impacting our business so much more. But from now on, when a new retail book comes out, I'm going to read it right away.
Yeah, you almost have to.
What?
You almost have to.
You have to, because I think we will get ideas and we will learn what the authors have learned about the companies and how the companies are thinking about retail today. Certainly books post-pandemic now are going to be very interesting to be reading.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out it's called That Will Never Work. It's the birth of Netflix. And it's very similar. Like the correlations between how Netflix was built in the early 90s, in the late 90s to Amazon, they're very similar. Like it's a very haphazard construction to their genesis, and it's very similar in that regard. They were not the darlings. They had all the big boys coming in and telling them how bad they were, and we're going to take you over and all that kind of stuff. And but again, that I should have read the book when it came out because it was dated, and it's not even that old. I think it came out in like 18, and Netflix is like completely different.
Well, and at the end of this book, because I just finished it, literally, I had 25 minutes left to listen this morning on my walk. Bezos walks in with the red envelope and throws it on the desk, and he goes, "What is this? And why aren't we doing this?"
Right.
He goes, and one of his employees is like, "Oh, this is nothing. The DVDs, they're going to be out of business," right? That's what one of his employees said. And he goes, "No, they're going into content." Bezos said, "I see them producing content."
Yeah. And I mean, the part of this is where like this becomes dated is because 2015 to now, I mean, Amazon has got into content. They've exploded into so many different facets. I mean, this is really just getting to, this is all pre-content, pre-delivery, grocery, all this stuff. And it's so much has changed since then. And this is basically just building the bookstore element of it. And I mean, it's fascinating, but he needs to create another update from like 16 to today.
Yeah, brilliant man. Nothing in the book led you to believe that it was anything other than him.
Right.
One guy. Right. There was no proof that some Rockstar C-suite partner, they were the minions that got it done and that fought with him, but it's all him. And he went from books to AWS to now he did get some ideas. The Prime thing was definitely an idea. AWS was an idea, but he took these ideas and ran with them. And then, in the middle of the book, they described the whole Blue Horizon.
Oh, the rocket company?
Yeah.
Yeah, Blue Horizon.
Blue something. And that he's got this top secret warehouse with a little sign above the door. And that he kept that under wraps for 3 or 4 years before a reporter. And I think it was that analyst, no, it was a reporter who found out about it and then went and took a picture of it and kind of blew it. Then it got exposed.
Yeah.
I got to jump. I got a 12 o'clock conference call. I really, this really, really fascinating. So I'm going to listen to the rest of it recording, but.
Thank you, Barry.
Thanks. Bye.
See you later, Bear.
Bye, Greg. See ya. Great seeing you.
But yeah, so fascinating that one guy can have so much intelligence and drive and not piss off his employees so much that it doesn't impact the company and it keeps the company going, right? And now he's stepping down as CEO. It'll be very interesting to see what happens from this point forward.
Yeah, I mean, all of these CEOs get to a point where they're like, there are certain aspects of this company that I want to take over, but I can't do it as from the top. And, that's kind of how Steve Jobs ended his career at Apple. I mean, he was CEO, but I mean, he really focused his efforts on building the iPad before he passed away. Like that was his last legacy. And, what's Bezos's legacy going to be going forward? I mean, is he going to spend more time on the rocket company? Is he going to spend more time, in the grocery world, which is what I think he really wants to do? Like that just sounds to be what his next his real focus he wants to be. But he does the infatuation with the customer service, I think is important. He comes to, he had some of these meetings where he'll call the customer service line and nobody knows who he is, and he's calling it. He has a customer complaint, and no one's answering the phone for minutes on end, and so it just explodes from there. I think that is a lesson that a lot of these retailers, the legacy retailers, need to take.
Or landlords, as you said, as we got on.
Exactly. It's just, if someone's asking for something from you, take the phone call.
Answer the phone.
Take the phone call. It's not going to hurt you.
Okay, so let's digress for a second, since the majority of the average of 400 people who download this recording in the months to come. Greg Parsons, the new real estate manager for Spirit Halloween. Please share your first week or two on the job and what you have learned about landlords and landlord leasing agents.
I have learned that many landlords, and I hope this was never me, are extremely lazy. They don't pick up the phone. They don't respond to emails. They don't respond to texts. They don't respond to anything. And I don't know why. I mean, I have no clue. I have no idea. And it can't be the fact that you don't have any idea that most of these landlords have no idea who I am. So they're not calling they think I'm a temporary operator. They don't know.
They think you're a vape store. I will tell you that in the 16 years that I've been training, it's the number one complaint from retailers. They stop me at ICSCs and they say, will you please tell your leasing agents to follow up? I mean, they don't call back.
It's that they don't even call back. I mean, and I don't know what the answer is. I really don't. I don't know if they're looking for the next ticket, like they're looking just for that big ticket, and then we'll wait as long as we can. I don't know. I don't know what it is. But I'm standing in front of people's stores with the sign on the door, making a phone call. Phone just rings. Text, nothing. Like, okay. And you'll keep following up, and I'll have to pursue it because it's a location that I need to have. So I'm going to do whatever I have to do to make it happen. And if I throw people under the bus, I guess I throw people under the bus. Who knows? But I need my spot.
I was in Boise, Idaho last March, and I saw a bank pad on the corner, Main and Main corner intersection. I wanted to buy it. It was an empty bank, had a leasing sign on it with a national brokerage firm. And I was in Boise 2 weeks. I called this guy's number 4 times. I finally called Miami and took a friend of mine at the brokerage firm and said, can you please help me? Your guy, maybe he's on vacation. Let's give him the benefit of the doubt. But I've called the office and the cell phone. I've left 4 messages. I have emailed. Can you get someone in the Boise office to call me back? I'm only here for 2 weeks and I'm very interested in this site. Wow. Terrible.
Did anybody ever call you?
So I think All I can do in defense of the leasing folks is if they have 50 shopping centers to lease, it's impossible for them to call back everyone that calls them, within 24 hours because but that's why I hate that too. And I talked to the landlords about that. But anyway, we digress, but hopefully that will get better, Greg. You should do a LinkedIn post on it.
I should. And a lot of it, these are brokers. These are brokers that are like, that thrive on, that live or die by commissions. I mean, I guess it's not important. I don't know. It blew me away. It blows me away. Absolutely blows me away.
You should
might have to do it. I was just thinking like maybe they're not making a priority to actually get back, in their day. I don't know. It just seemed maybe they're distracted. They've got too much going on, but you think that's the most important, right? The most important thing is
someone's calling you for your business. See, Jeff Bezos would fire all those people.
Yeah, exactly. Let's take he would, we can correlate this back with the conversation, but yes, Jeff Bezos would pretty much string these people up and throw them out the door very quickly, and maybe burn their car in the parking lot.
Someone told Jeff, one day you'll understand that it's harder to be kind than clever. It's harder to be kind than clever. He said Bezos insisted the company needed to master anything that touched the hallowed customer experience, and he resisted any efforts to project profitability. Absolutely, he did not project profitability. The customers came over profitability for many, many, many years. For the first time, Amazon was spoken in the same breath as Google and Apple, not as an afterthought, but as an equal. It had blasted off into high orbit. This is what he said about the internet. Maximizing the internet's ability to provide a superior selection of products as compared to those available at traditional retailer stores. This will blow the retail market off. So, yeah. So, Sean, did you read the book?
No, you guys are getting me pumped though. I got to read it because I just saw like a quick summary online. It's just been one of those crazy times, but I got to read it because it's just already whetting my appetite. The thing that I got from it, just from thinking about my own experience with Amazon, is just how he's made it so frictionless for me to order things and get it right away, so that really I have that my desire to, or my impulse, you say, to get something, I can get it immediately. So that's kind of changed my whole way I buy products. And so I think that's been a big impact. So, but I look at learning a lot more. It seems like he's in everything right now, and it's just, he's growing and growing.
And what's so fascinating also is how Amazon has changed downtown major city office buildings, where they've actually had to create an Amazon room for the boxes.
Yeah.
The doorman, or if you don't have a doorman, my friends who have kids that live in New York say, did you know that the apartment buildings in major cities have to create Amazon rooms for the boxes? Because unlike my house, they pile up outside my door until I yell at the kids to bring them in. And then how about when they added the whole automatic subscription thing? My sister does that for me. I called her the other day. We have paper towels for the next year. Let's stop ordering the paper on the automatic monthly subscription thing.
And for me, what's made it really easy is the pickup locations at 7-Eleven, especially the 7-Eleven near me. I use that all the time because I don't want to worry about someone picking up my package.
There you go. So you have yours sent to a third-party site, and you go there to pick them up so that they're not sitting outside your door and then might get stolen, right?
Correct.
Interesting. And then, they have pickup. I've seen pickup locations in shopping malls. I've seen pickup locations in hotel lobbies.
Office buildings too.
Yeah,
they got
office
office buildings.
this was kind of near the end of the book, and we'll start to wrap up, and I'm happy to hear anyone else's comments about this book, but I thought that this was very interesting. This is more, so this is his edict, and it's, as we've said, everything that he's kind of, ruthless, right? This is what he said he wants his edict to be at the company. Rudeness is not cool. Defeating tiny guys is not cool. Close following is not cool. Young is cool. Risk taking is cool. Winning is cool. Polite is cool. Defeating bigger, unsympathetic guys is cool. Inventing is cool. Explorers are cool. Conquerors are not cool. Obsessing over competitors is not cool. Empowering others is cool. Capturing all the value only for the company is not cool. Leadership is cool. Conviction is cool. Straightforwardness is cool. Pandering to the crowd is not cool. Hypocrisy is not cool. Authenticity is cool. Thinking big is cool. The unexpected is cool. Missionaries are cool, and mercenaries are not cool.
Interesting.
That is fascinating, because some of those things that he said is not cool, he absolutely did those. There are absolute examples in the book where he has done those.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. It says it's hypocrisy is not cool. I'm like, really?
Right. So maybe this is his new 20 years into it motto, right? Maybe he's learned from his mistakes. I don't know. But all right, anyone, we like to always end around 12:15. So we're getting to that time. Anybody else have any thoughts before we close out? I'm going to look up and see. I think I know our next book, but I'm just going to check it out while I'm here. Greg, any last words?
I think it's interesting to see the architecture of Amazon, and how every part of the construction of the company has launched other elements across just industry in general. When they come up with the distribution center versus they don't call it, it's not a warehouse, it's a fulfillment center. They coined that term, and how they were, and I can't remember if the guy was from Walmart or wherever it was that he hired, that basically turned up, blew up their entire distribution of, their delivery aspect of it. I can't remember if that was, but anyway.
Walmart.
I think it was Walmart. And so he taking them and teaching them about fulfillment and modernizing and modernizing the way they distribute products to the customer. I just, what they've been able to build and how it's transcended across the industry, I think is just fascinating.
Yeah. Okay, the next book club, which is scheduled for April 15th, and I have an all-day retreat that day. So with the winners of the Canvassing Club Challenge, but we'll see how we work around that, is the 5 a.m. club. Greg, have you read that yet? I'm halfway through it. It's excellent.
I have not read it. I'll finish it. I'll get started after I finish the book I'm reading now.
What book are you reading now?
It's called Cuyahoga. So it's essentially the I'm trying to remember the John Henry story. It's kind of a John Henry type story of building of Cleveland, which is my hometown. So it's a tall tale based on that. So it's the first fiction book I've read in a really long time. So I'm kind of into it. So yeah,
so the 5 a.m. Club by Robin Sharma, I'm really enjoying it a lot, and we will confirm the time and the date. And if for any of the women on the phone tomorrow, and Greg, feel free to share. We're having our first annual Women Real Estate Summit, Investor Summit from 12 to 5. I'm interviewing 6 of my friends who have invested in real estate. So one woman has invested in land. Another woman has 34 townhomes in Wichita, Kansas. Someone else just bought her first shopping center last year. So it's real people like us. And the whole theme of the day is if we can do it, so can you. And that's tomorrow from 12 to 5. You can still register on my Instagram in the link. And I hope you guys enjoyed this. I love reading. As my shirt says, I am a bookaholic. All right, guys, thanks for being here. We'll see you next month.
All
Thanks,
right.
guys.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Good luck at the summit tomorrow.
Thank you, Greg. Good luck getting landlords to call you back.
I'll force them to.
Congrats
All right,
on the position.
Thanks, Dana.
Thank you.
Bye-bye, guys.
Thank you. Bye-bye.